Spoilers!
Hello and welcome to another episode of A Brief History. Today's episode, Doctor Who, Series 5 through 7. Ready, set, go! April 3rd, 2010, the long-running British sci-fi television program Doctor Who enters its 5th series since being rebooted in 2005. And with this new season came a new executive producer named Stephen Moffat, as well as a new Doctor played by actor and former aspiring football player Matt Smith. Series 5 picks up immediately after the events of the 10th Doctor's finale, The End of Time. A newly regenerated Doctor is plummeting towards the Earth in a fiery and chaotic TARDIS, which then crash lands in the front yard of a young girl's house. This little girl, Amelia, brings the Doctor into her bedroom and shows him a gigantic crack in her wall. The Doctor explains that this crack is not in the wall, but in the skin of the universe. The Doctor then leaves to save his burning TARDIS, and from his perspective, he returns in about 5 minutes, but from Amelia's perspective, he was gone for 12 years. In this 12-year future, after complaining about Amelia now going by Amy, meeting her soon-to-be fiancé Rory, exposing an alien named Prisoner Zero, and running off a horde of alien ships with nothing but a stern talking to, the Doctor then pops back into his TARDIS only to return again, having gotten the time wrong, but this time only by about 2 years, so you know, he's getting better. So finally, after 14 years of waiting, Amy Pond finally gets to travel through time and space with the Doctor. In their adventures, the Doctor and Amy battled Daleks with Winston Churchill, Weeping Angels with River Song, and a Crefface with Vincent van Gogh. Oh, and Rory died twice, just figured that was worth mentioning. In fact, why don't we keep account of how many times Rory dies in these 3 seasons? The finale of Series 5 saw the Doctor, Amy, and a newly revived, but not really, Rory attempting to save the universe from coming to an end, because, you know, what else are they gonna do? In the end, the Doctor accomplishes this by flying a box called the Pandorica into the heart of his exploding TARDIS, somehow creating a second Big Bang and resetting the universe. All this, and he still had time to show up for Amy and Rory's wedding. And thus, we move on to Series 6. We begin with Amy and Rory, now married and living together, receiving a TARDIS blue letter in the mail inviting them to Lake Silencio, Utah, where they meet up with the Doctor and River Song. During what appears to be a pleasant reunion picnic, an Apollo-era spaceman comes out of the lake and shoots the Doctor dead. After River attempts to shoot the astronaut and Amy just utterly loses it, the 3 of them are then greeted by a man named Kenton Everett Delaware III, who apparently also knows the Doctor. As they make their way to a nearby cafe to ponder and mourn over what they had just witnessed, a younger Doctor appears, oblivious to anything that had just happened. This Doctor and his companions then make their way to meet Canton in Washington, D.C. 1969, where they fight a new army of aliens called the Silence. With this new foe seemingly defeated, the Doctor and the Ponds leave for more adventures. This series, Rory almost dies on a pirate ship and then dies again in the TARDIS corridors, but only in Amy's mind? Even more confusing is the fact that this whole season, the Amy traveling with the Doctor has not actually been Amy, but a doppelganger controlled by the real Amy who's in the middle of giving birth? Moffat, what are you doing to me? Amy and Rory named their baby Melody Pond, who they later discover was River Song. And on top of that, it also turns out that Amy and Rory's lifelong friend Mel's, without whom they would have never gotten together in the first place, was also River Song. How is this possible? Well, Amy and Rory spent their wedding night on the TARDIS, and so their child, having been conceived on the TARDIS, was born with a mix of human and Time Lord DNA. This means the River can regenerate, but after her past self, the newly regenerated Mel, discovers who she truly is, she gives up all of her future regenerations in order to save the Doctor's life. Seriously, Moffat, it hurts my head! At this point in the show, the Doctor has discovered and accepted his fate in the Utah desert and begins sending out the invitations that we saw in episode 1. We now discover that the person inside the astronaut suit was River Song, who then refuses to shoot him, causing everything to go crazy! River shooting at herself, Charles Dickens being interviewed for the news, pterodactyls being flying around in the park. The universe was collapsing in on itself, and the only way to stop it apparently was for the Doctor to marry River and then die. The universe was now back to normal, and the Doctor is dead. Right? No! The real Doctor is just chilling out inside a life-size shape-shifting robot ship made to look like the Doctor. Okay. Finally, we have Series 7 and then I'm gonna need some aspirin. The show begins and nothing is going right for anyone. The Doctor has been kidnapped, Rory and Amy are getting a divorce, and then they all end up on a gigantic ship filled with thousands of Daleks. Exterminate! Exterminate! The 3 of them push down onto a planet known as the Dalek Asylum for the purpose of dropping the force field surrounding the planet. On the asylum, the Doctor searches for a girl named Oswin Oswald who had supposedly crash landed there and had been surviving on her own for a year. When the Doctor finally finds her, it is revealed that all this time she had just been dreaming she was still human. After her crash landing, she was captured by the insane Daleks and fully converted into a Dalek herself. After escaping the Daleks and fixing the Ponds' marriage, the Doctor shoves off again, returning occasionally for more wacky antics. On one particular adventure, the Doctor and the Ponds end up in New York once again fighting the Weeping Angels. They find an aged Rory in a hotel room who then dies, and in order to escape his fate and kill the angels, the present Rory prepares to jump off the side of a skyscraper, but Amy, not wanting to live without him, jumps with him. This paradox kills all of the angels and everything is back to normal. Well, not exactly. One surviving angel comes back for vengeance and zaps Rory and Amy back in time, leading to the final death of Rory Williams and the end of the Doctor's adventures with the Ponds. And the feels! Still coping with the loss of his best friends, the Doctor disappears to Victorian England, seemingly retired. While there, the Doctor meets a woman named Clara Oswin Oswald, the same woman that he met on the Dalek Asylum. Clara was going to become the Doctor's companion, but unfortunately before she could do so, she fell to her death. This guy just has the worst luck. The Doctor then discovers yet another version of Clara in modern-day England, and she finally joins the Doctor as his companion in the TARDIS. Following many adventures in the Doctor Doctor's constant attempts at trying to understand just who Clara is, the Doctor is summoned to his burial site, the planet Trenzalore. On Trenzalore, an old foe known as the Great Intelligence shows up, and then everyone enters the Doctor's grave. Inside, they discover the Doctor's personal timeline, which the Great Intelligence then enters, spreading copies of it throughout the Doctor's entire life, rewriting his history in an attempt to kill him. Clara then throws herself into the timeline to stop the Great Intelligence, scattering herself across the Doctor's entire life, including the Dalek Asylum and Victorian England. And finally, as is apparently the trend, the Doctor enters his own timeline to find and save Clara, but before the two can return, they find a different Doctor who we currently have absolutely no information on. What's next for the Doctor and Clara? Find out on the upcoming 50th anniversary Doctor Who special on November 23rd, 2013, only on BBC and BBC America. I'll see you in a week, guys. DFTBA.
What in the name of sanity have you got on your head?
It's a fez. I wear a fez now. Fezzes are cool.
Nice bow tie. Bow ties are cool.
Go on, say it. Most people do.
Smaller on the outside.